We are live. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Blake Ruffino. This is Are You Serious Sports? We hope that you guys are making it a good one. We know that we are as well. A little later than I normally like to go, obviously. But I don't, like I've told you before, I massively hate going during live LSU games just in general. But nevertheless, we are here. We are live. If LSU is going to continue to run roll everybody, we will go at 7. As LSU gets their 9th run rule game of the year, we will break that down in our LSU baseball postgame show. We will probably go on another Ruffino's Rants. It is getting a little late. It is getting a little freaky out there on the Tuesday night, so we'll see. Mike Denbrock and Matt House spoke. We'll talk on that. My key takeaways from both coordinators speaking from LSU football. We'll give that spring practice update in there as well. We'll go around your SEC. Zach will pull up some scores. I know that South Carolina was leading North Carolina, and they threw their Thursday night guy tonight. So they threw their Thursday night guy 2 innings. Eli Jones, that would be going on Thursday. It's going to be interesting to see how that will transpire. We will break down South Carolina baseball tomorrow with our good buddies over at the Spurs Show podcast. Massive South Carolina podcast that they have and run. So looking forward to having them on tomorrow night to break it down. So we'll go around your SEC, and then as we do every Tuesday and Thursday, hashtag Ask Blake, thoughts, questions, concerns. We get to all of them. Let me say this very quickly as we do start off the show. If you run a business, own a business, and are looking to sponsor, I mean, we got to get Zach more money. That's what we're trying to do, is put money in Zach's pockets. That's what we're trying to do. Isn't that right, Zach? Okay. So if you run a business, own a business, we'd love to bring you aboard with us. We want to thank WEM Electric for being with us. They'll be with us throughout the month. We appreciate them. Stuart Jones says, hey, LSU versus the world, baby, as always. Rob Boudreaux says the baseball team helped you out with that run rule. No doubt it did. Jason, but be honest with you, Rob, I'll do what we did that other night when it was going to go 9 innings, unless it was Texas. That Texas game, everybody would be up because everybody's still hype and how big that game was. But when you have these midweek games, you kind of know, like, Nichols is not a good team, right? Like, they're just not a good team. So I really felt I never, when we were making the show, I was like, I think I texted Zach. I mean, I didn't give him a time, but I mean, come on, man. We look like we're going an hour and a half later, So Southeastern's probably going to win that conference again. If they don't win the regular season, they'll definitely probably win in the tournament. They're just deeper than everybody. But yeah, Nichols is not good. Nichols is a really bad team. I say really bad, but guys, they played really good tonight against you. But man, they struck out 12 times. I mean, and you're just rolling new dudes in there. I mean, they're just not, and you're putting in dudes that have not been good all year. We'll actually talk about them, one of them, and Thatcher Hurd. I feel so bad for him. I feel so bad for that kid. Jason Tabor says, I would have loved to see Dugas get a chance to hit the cycle for the natural cycle. How crazy would that have been? The natural cycle 2 years in a row? Insanity. So we'll break that down. Want to get to some football. We'll probably go on another Ruffino's Rants about Portnoy and them now sucking up to LSU fans about, if you're not seeing Dylan Cruz. Basically what Dave Portnoy did was he texted Mincy, go save my ass. That's exactly what happened. 1,000% that's what happened. And then Caitlin Clark came out today and said that she's okay with the trash talk. So we'll get into it after the game before we get to coordinators. All right, Zach, let's do. I'll read a couple more. Ed O says to Corbin, really hope that rumor isn't true. Let me guess. Trying say Shores. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes, guys, things aren't rumors. Bear Granger says Zach gonna hold out for that dollar raise. Yeah, he's 15 to me an hour. You know, Mr. Blake, hit the retweet. You know, I don't know. He doesn't look like he's in a good mood tonight, though. He got his new haircut. Doesn't look like he's in a good mood. You know who was always in a good mood, Zach? Jesus. I'll tell you. Dylan Nation says, hashtag Ask Blake, what do you think with Thatcher Hurd? We'll talk on that. Do you put him in the bullpen or keep him as a starter? I don't know. But you can't continue to run him out there at the current moment in the weekend, I don't think. Holden Lee. All right, everybody's talking about Hurd. So we'll talk on that. I think that's a good place to start when we come back. But really quickly, everybody do us a favor, though, by hitting the like and share to all of those social media groups. Share to all of those social media pages. If you're listening to us on YouTube, like, subscribe, and notification bell. We greatly appreciate you doing that. If you're listening to us wherever you listen to podcasts, rate, review, and subscribe as well. We greatly appreciate you doing that. Let's talk about our good friends over at betonline.ag and our good friends over at GM Varno & Sons. We're back in 1 minute. Start off your show. We got a lot to discuss. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag. With over 65 years of experience, nobody is better equipped to service in your vehicle than GM Varno & Sons. RV repair, big rig overhauls, motorhome chassis, routine maintenance, tire rotations, tire sales. No job is too big or too small over at GM. If you break down the side of the road in the greater Baton Rouge area, they will come and get you. And the best thing about that is that they can come and get you, and then they can bring your vehicle back to their shop and start the repairs right then. Again, GM Varno & Sons. Go see them over at 2500 Fuller Boulevard. Give them a call at 225-664-9992. 225-664-9992. Tell them your good friend Blake Ruffino sent you on by. We're back. Our good friend Stephen Fry over from Fry Construction. You guys got to give them a call. Go see him today or tomorrow. Site work and land development, oil and gas services, commercial construction, aggregate and soil hauling, waste containers, demolition. They do it all. 161 West Maple Street in Eunice, Louisiana. But he comes in, he says, Blake, I'm trying out this YouTube nonsense tonight. Way too many comments up in this BI. Yeah, I like YouTube. You know, YouTube actually pays us. So, but we go to Facebook, you know, just in case people want to watch it there too. Like, I don't care about all that stuff. You know, we go everywhere. So besides Twitch, but Twitch, I mean, I'm not doing Twitch. I don't know why people do Twitch. I think it's awful. But yeah, if you want to help a brother out, y'all go over to YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Jared says South Carolina's saving him for game 2 because they know Skeens is about to shove, but we'll see. Yeah, if you're just joining us, South Carolina threw their Thursday night guy tonight for 2 innings, Eli Jones, which is really interesting. So, look, what do you want me to really come out here and say? What do you really want me to come out here and say? I mean, LSU in the midweek did exactly what they needed to do. Okay. Did they start off a little sluggish? Yeah. Did they have some little base running stuff? Yeah. Am I getting maybe not worried? That'd be a bad word. Am I conscious of Tommy Tanks having a couple errors at third? Yes. Or last couple of weeks? Yes. Did Tommy Tanks hit 2 bombs tonight? Yes. Does he lead your team in home runs? Yes. Did Jared Jones hit one off the Hancock Whitney Bank sign tonight? Yes. What do you want me to say? At this point, if you're criticizing anything that they do or don't think that they can't go far in this tournament, that they will get in a couple of weeks or a couple months, I don't know what else to tell you. You're nitpicking at that point because Kay Beloso comes out, Joe Bear comes out, Kling comes in, Jones comes in. And guys, Jones is tied with Dylan Cruz and Gavin Dugas with 9 home runs. I get the strikeouts. I get everybody moaning and complaining, like we had it in our comment section the other night. I get it. You can't take him out of the lineup. The only thing for me, guys, and I think it's coming a little bit apparent as maybe LSU's weakness, the chink in their armor, if you will. Look, I don't want to beat up on Thatcher Hurd. I'm not trying to. But guys, this is multiple and multiple bad starts. And it's tough because, the kid came here. He had NIL deals. He gave all of his NIL money to the food bank charity. I forget their names off the top of my head. Like, look, I get that. Okay. But it's our job, literally. Shout out to Bet Online and Believe. But it's literally our job to come out here and talk about what's going on the diamond. Tonight, Thatcher Hurd came in the top of the 5th. He got a fly out that Milazzo got. Then he gave up a single, the one that Thompson got back up the middle, threw it to first. It wasn't considered an error. Maybe should have been, but I'm giving that a hit all the live long day. And he threw it wild, but nobody advanced. It didn't hurt you. Then another single, okay, that you gave up. Then he gave up a walk and a sac fly RBI to right field. And then he walked the guy to get the bases loaded. He walked their 3-hole hitter to get the bases loaded. Now, I don't really hate that, right? Like, I don't hate that he walked the guy that's probably going to go in the portal, their 3-hole hitter from Nichols, how many guys has Jay Johnson intentionally walked in the last 2 years? Name them off the top of your head. I bet you can't. But they walked this kid from Nichols. I wouldn't be surprised if he's not in the LSU jersey next year. Jay intentionally walks that guy. Thatcher Hurd walks him. Okay, then he gets a strikeout looking that ended it. So he only gave up a run. What do you make of that? Right? That he's even against midweek opponents, he's having issues. Seems that way. So now we come to a decision. We come to the fork in the road, and we ask ourselves the question, what do you do? And I'm using this term lightly, Sunday game. What do you do in game 3 during the weekend in the SEC now? Thatcher Hurd's not there. Now, I guess maybe after tonight, if he can put together another good performance, maybe Christian Little, as he struck out the side in the top of the 1st. Now, he gave up a run in the 2nd, but I mean, that ball literally hit an inch on the foul line, but he walked a guy, and the guy stole a base on him. So I don't know what you're going to do for your game 3. No clue. Now, do you go into a situation where you have to bump Riley Cooper up there on a Sunday? Maybe. Guys, Coop Dog might be your game 3 guy. And for me at the current moment, I don't really dislike Cooper. I think that for what it's worth, if he can put together what he did this past weekend when he came in against Tennessee, he started off, he struggled a little bit, but he's coming in very early into that game. So I'm going to give him a little leeway, but he had some times where he kind of locked Tennessee down a little bit. Then at the end, he got rocked a little bit too. I don't know. Now, I'm not necessarily going to address the rumors, if you will, because when it comes to injuries especially in baseball. I am more sensitive to injuries in baseball because I just don't look. We've done an interview with Jay. Don't talk about it being sourcing. How do you think you get in there? My thing is with Shores, like, it doesn't sound too good. Now tonight he had on an arm sleeve on his throwing shoulder or his throwing arm. So I don't know. Who do you go to in game 3? Now, you have a massive weekend. Okay. We can talk about this game. We can talk about the bottom of the 4th. We can talk about Tommy Tanks coming into his zone. But, guys, we've been talking about that for 2 months. Okay? Really good baseball players are hitting the ball really far. That's it. They're taking professional at-bats 9 times out of 10. They look good at the plate. That's the best they ever looked. I mean, for crying out loud, you got Alex Milazzo hitting an absolute rope into left field. What Jay Johnson single-handedly has done for Alex Milazzo's career is going to save it. Now, he would have been drafted. He was going to get drafted anyway because what he does defensively. But I tell you what, that guy is hitting too. You ask him to bunt, perfect bunt down the third base line. Perfect bunt down the third base line. So LSU, bottom of the 4th, bottom of the 6th, Milazzo walks, Gavin Dugas triple, Morgan hits a sac fly, Cruz walks, Tommy Tanks hits a bomb, Jones flies out to right, and Stevenson strikes out. Then, who's this Putnam kid? Putnam? Is it Putnam or Putnam? The youth pastor. That's his nickname. Well, he came into the 7th, and I'm going to tell you something. This is what he looked like. He got a strikeout. He had got a hit by pitch, and he struck another dude out. Who's that kid? Bucknam. There you go. I mean, that kid came out of the pen. I didn't even know who he was, out there throwing 95 miles an hour 6 straight times before he hit a guy. It was kind of flat, though. Kind of kept it up in the zone. Who's that kid? But now I think you got it to, in my opinion, if Cooper's going to be your Sunday guy, you got to get Gavin Guidry ready. You got to get these younger arms ready to go. And it is of my opinion that Jay foresaw this happening because that's exactly why Gavin Guidry went down to the pen. So big dudes hit baseballs really far. That's the LSU scouting report. You can do whatever you want to. They're going to take professional at-bats. You better not leave them anything dangerous because they're going to send it into orbit. They play really good defense. They got a Friday night guy, their game 1 guy, the best pitcher that LSU's seen since Aaron Nola, easily, who leads the league in strikeouts, who leads the country in strikeouts, who is the midterm pitcher of the year, along with Dylan Cruz, his counterpart, who is the mid-year player of the year. You're a good team. You're not even a good team. You're a really damn good team. So as this progresses and you go through South Carolina and then Kentucky, guys, the SEC, I know it's still a gauntlet, gets a little bit easier. Mississippi State, Ole Miss, they're not really looking that hot right now. Now, can those teams and do both of those teams have a history of turning it on late? Yes. Yes, they do. So we'll just have to see as this continues to go on. But the biggest chink in LSU's armor is pitching down the stretch. You know, you've gone through a couple of series now. You've gone through a couple of series where you've had teams on the ropes like Muhammad Ali and you could have swept, and you didn't. A&M and Tennessee. What do they all have in common? Now, I get that the A&M game, they won game one against Paul Skeens. I get that. You know what I'm talking. I mean, Arkansas. Arkansas winning game one against Paul Skeens. Arkansas has two of the best arms you'll see in the SEC. But game three against Tennessee and game three against A&M, I'm starting to have some questions. Do they have a game three starter? Because maybe y'all can tell me. I mean, here's another question. What do you do with Garrett Edwards? Right. Zach says this. He says A&M game three, Arkansas game one. That's the you get what I was trying to say. Tennessee game three, pitching lost. You both sweeps. Absolutely, it did. 1,000% it did. So I'm in the fork in the road. Either pitching's going to have to start getting better, or you're just going to, on Sundays, you're going to have to unload offensively. And by unload, I'm talking about what Tennessee did to you Sunday. Now, we didn't get to talk about that game at all because of the simple fact that LSU won a national championship. But don't think that I didn't forget about it. And I know that you didn't either. And I'm not, like, I feel as if I'm being negative right now. I'm not being negative. Like I said, this is a very good LSU baseball team. There's the reason that they've been number one in the polls since the beginning of the season, and they haven't let up. And it's something to be said that when a team is faced and has been the number one in the polls as long as they have, to not be complacent at times. But you come back on those game threes and you just have an issue. And it all revolves around what you had last season. I mean, the LSU just didn't have guys that they could go to. And that's the problem with, you know what's the good thing about that? That's the $1 million question for every program in the country. Every program in the country. But you're just going to have younger guys step up and be big. And you're going to continue to have massive nights from guys like Dylan Cruz, Gavin Dugas, Tommy Tanks. You just will. I know. I feel, Zach, dude, does it feel to you that I'm being negative? I don't feel like I'm being negative, but I feel like that's how it's being portrayed in a sense. Guys, I am a little worried, to be honest with you. I'm a little worried because, yeah, I'm just a little worried, man. You're not. What's going to happen when you get in a situation where you got to go into the SEC tournament and game three rolls around in a single elimination type of scenario, and you got to run out Riley Cooper, and they run out what Tennessee ran out. Now, you hit that dude. I'm not saying you didn't. I don't know. Justin LaGrange says the Yankees lost. Yeah, well, they won last night. MLB's a marathon. Holden Lee says 3 straight weekends facing top 10 opponents. I get that. And nobody said that they didn't. But, who do you get that shot on Sunday? Is it Garrett Edwards? Is it Riley Cooper? Like, who do you trust the most? Do you need Riley Cooper on a Friday night? I mean, maybe Jay gets to a situation where when Skeens has got to come out, Garrett Edwards is coming right in, especially on a I say a Friday night, but you get what I mean because we play Thursday. But on a Thursday night, he's got to throw his best 1-2 at you like he's Muhammad Ali. Who is your best 1-2? Skeens and Edwards on that night. So I love this team. This team is going to go far. I think deep down you know that this baseball team is going to go far and has some potential. You know it. I know it. Everybody in the country knows it. There are just some things that you got to change, and there's some things you got to pick up. Okay. Couple things. I'll go in a mini Rufino's rants. Jake Roberts says, let's pump the brakes on the Shores talk. Nothing is confirmed yet. I never said it was confirmed. I said that at the current moment, when we have visual of, his arm tonight, and he's got a throwing sleeve on one arm and then not on the other. You do have the rumors. I'm not going to confirm or deny them. I hear the same stuff going on. Nothing's been confirmed to me yet. And this is what I was told. I was told that, let me preface this, because there's going to be somebody on Twitter and says, do you know how long I had to sit on this story? That's not true. That's not true. They have told everybody that they don't know yet. So I agree with him. Whoever said that, Jake Roberts, I agree with that. But for the time being, I'm just going to pump the brakes just a little bit until Jay is asked that question. Now, was he asked tonight? I don't know. I feel as if a real reporter would have actually done their job and asked the question, maybe, but it doesn't look like it, because that everybody would be sharing that. So everybody would be sharing that. I don't mind this. Doug Knows says Johnny Holstaff got us through all 3 games last year. Surely can piece together a Sunday. You're right on that, Doug, but I'm going to tell you something. Again, if the Chase Shore rumor is true, then he's out. So then, how deep are you in that bullpen? How deep do you have a Paul Gervais? Dude, you don't have an Eric Raisman or Paul Gervais down there. You got a Will Helmers. Y'all can call me crazy all the live long day. All the live long day. I know what I'm saying. Now, Collins and Dutton looked okay tonight. Now, here's the kicker to that argument. The kicker is, can Collins and Dutton do some good things? Now, if they can, and Gavin Guidry can look good, and Gavin Guidry does some good things, I'm with you, man. I'm 1,000% with you. I kind of got to see it, though. Like, what am I gonna base it off of? They're a midweek game against Nichols, who'll be last in the SEC, last in the Southland. I like Penn Jones. I said this the other day. Oh, by the way, our trusted Nate Ackenhausen fan. You heard anything on Nasty Nate? You're a liar. Zach's a liar, y'all. No, I didn't hear. I know that you did, because he said that he talked to your crazy ass. Zach's a whole source and lie. But he says, Penn Jones says, how about here in game 3? I don't mind that if he could stay in the zone. Zach says, you're not deep. Well, I'm sorry that's what you've heard most of your life there, buddy. You're not deep. Your life story, huh? They said that's Zach's life story. Travis says, I agree. The younger guys need to step up and grow fast. They're going to have to grow fast. They're going to have to grow up fast. Jake Roberts says, Edwards is your Gervais this year. Do we know that? Do we know that? I don't think y'all remember how clutch Paul Gervais was, dude. I don't think that y'all realize how clutch he was last year. That dude was mega clutch. Now, can Garrett Edwards be that? Yes. Is he that right now? No, he's not. No, he's not. We'll see, man. We'll see. But the one thing that I didn't mention too that sinks on these 7-run rule games or 10-run rule games, excuse me. The thing that stinks, man, Dylan Cruz's streak, consecutive games with a base hit is snapped. That just goes to show you, man. That just goes to show you. So, Jake, Tennessee's not a massive hitting program right now. They've struggled. They're a losing team in the SEC. They're still number 11 team, you're right, but Paulie G was nasty, bro. Paulie G was nasty. We got to see more of Garrett Edwards. Garrett Edwards on Friday also walked a couple guys and he got out of his own jams. So, but you're not wrong. I mean, you're not wrong, but I just don't think he's Paul Gervais yet. That's just my opinion. My opinion is that he's not Paul Gervais. Maybe it's because he's Italian. Maybe it's because he had long hair. I don't know. Maybe I'm playing the Italian card. Maybe I, at night, sit up and before I go to sleep, start watching The Godfather. Maybe that's me, bro. Stop judging. Stop judging, bro. Sheesh. Sheesh. All right, sources. Hold on, let me solidify this. They said Jay was asked. Hold on. All right, sources. Not sources. Breaking, I guess. Chase Shores is still being evaluated. Jay Johnson has confirmed. Oh, never mind. I guess Zach was putting that up there. Why didn't you just come in and be like, hey, Mr. Blake, right. Jay Johnson just said, bye-bye. Okay.
I tried.
You look like Marty McGee or whatever the dude's name is from ESPN with the red hair. Is that your look you're going for?
I look good. What you talking about?
I'm not listening to that. I'm not listening to that. All right, so Chase Shores, Zach, we literally just got saying that. Did we not? So what Jay had already told all of us. There you go. Zach just hit the John Cena, you can't see me. Speaking of that very quickly. So let me say this. So Chase Shores still being evaluated. He won't throw this weekend. That's not good. That's not good. That's not good at all. That's not good. So, again, like I said to Mr. Roberts earlier, where's Mr. Jake Roberts? About don't do that thing with Chase Shores yet. Well, there you go. All right. We'll see. Let's get to some football, though. I do want to talk some football because both coordinators got to speak. Before we get to that, though, my comments kind of got out there, and there were some words exchanged. I'm not doubling down on this Portnoy thing. And I'm definitely not doubling down that Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark changed the game, exactly what Kim Mulkey said in her press conference. So if Kim Mulkey knows, she knows more about women's basketball than you do. I want to say this, though. I'm not calling for Barstool to not have a sports book in Louisiana. Never once did I say that, okay? Never once did I say that. What I said to Portnoy in the little conversation that he replied to, or whatever it was, I never once made mention to getting it out here. What I said is that you come to Louisiana begging for people all the live long day to bet at LeBurge, bet on your sports book, all of that. And then you trash Angel Reese by doing a very unclassy type of thing. You're a CEO of a company. So you can steal any of your stoolies that you want. Apparently they call themselves stoolies. It's not going to change anything, bro. You're 5'9.5". You made a lot of money. Good for you. But doubling down and trying to butter up LSU fans with your Dylan Cruz hype and college baseball hype, spare me. Spare me. So you can respond. Portnoy can respond to whatever he wants to respond to. But at the end of the day, why would I use their stuff when you're trashing an LSU player? Because the parlay didn't hit. Don't bet 25 grand on a sport that you don't know about. All right. Zach, let's talk about our good friend Carol Foss over at State Farm. That's statefarm.com. Get in touch with our good friend Carol Foss. Guys, look, inflation's going up. You need your wallet to have the same, if not more money. Call Carol Foss today. Now let them know that Blake Ruffino at AYS sent you on by. So how about Carol Foss? We're back in 45 seconds. We got some football we need to talk about next. Guys, you might know my good friend Carol Foss and all the great service that he provides over at State Farm. He is your good neighbor after all. But did you know State Farm has surprisingly great rates as well? Along with the great neighbor service, State Farm agent Carol Foss has surprisingly great rates for everyone inside the state of Louisiana. So call him today at 985-395-4300, 985-395-4300 for all of those surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to the State Farm underwriting requirements. All right, I want to clarify something on this Chase Shores thing very quickly. Jay Johnson said that we don't even know. So the exact report that I just gave before he came out and told everybody and let it be public knowledge, the same, if you were in here earlier, you heard my report. It's the same exact thing. So they don't even know yet what's going on. He'll be reevaluated. He won't throw this weekend. So we'll find out. But when Jay said reevaluated, that means that they have a tear. So as someone who's gone through, most of you know this, 2 ACL surgeries, when you get reevaluated, that means on the MRI or whatever you got done, that they found something that they did not like. So then that's why you go for a reevaluation. It's not looking good. We'll see. We'll see. Sean on YouTube says Wes Johnson is to elbows as Mike Leach is to concussions. I mean, nobody in Minnesota had it, right? Nobody in Arkansas had it, or 2 guys had it. You know, his bad tenure was Mississippi State. I'm not going to hurt Wes Johnson on that. I'm not going to hit Wes Johnson on that. You can't predict an elbow, man. That's something that's been going on for years. And Justin said he's had 14 surgeries on your knee. Like, damn, does it look like a hocus pocus knee? Like, what you got down there? Balls. AB, It says, Blake, you're good with LSU fans. The Barstool degenerates dug in their graves, their own graves. I agree with that. I'm sorry if I said your name wrong. I agree with that. Eddie on Facebook says, what's your ideas on Sunday pitching? I don't really know yet, Eddie. I mean, maybe Cooper is what I came up with. We'll see. Let me get to this because I know that we're far in deep, as Mr. Zach likes to say, into the show. So both coordinators spoke. Matt House today, Mike Denbrock last week. I kind of just want to take some of the things that they talked about. Look, they didn't say anything that we didn't know. I want to start off with Matt House, though, okay? So Matt House came out today, and he was asked about Harold Perkins and him moving into the inside. So, and we even tweeted about this last week. It was a big problem. It was a big conundrum. Everybody was freaking out about it on social media. Oh, my God, Harold Perkins is playing inside linebacker? Oh, my God. Oh, my God, what is Matt House doing? What are we even thinking here? He needs to be on the edge. Blake, he was our sack leader. He's our GOAT. Well, that last part might be true. But Matt House was asked about Harold Perkins today moving into the inside. And he basically said, and I'm just summarizing, guys, the spring is where you move a guy into a position, like how Harold Perkins came to LSU to play linebacker, not a hybrid, where you work on your fundamentals, you work on things, you do things the right way. He's right. That's all that spring is. Guys, you have coaches coming out across the country. You have Hugh Freeze that came out the other day talking about he wants to actually do a scrimmage if we're going to do a spring practice, like a spring game. He wants to go up against UAB and let's do a preseason game. The NFL gets one, et cetera, et cetera. You got Brian Kelly, who doesn't really want a spring game because of his numbers. The only guy that probably wants one and doesn't do anything during it really is Nick Saban. So when Matt House talks about Harold Perkins going to a position, guys, you do realize that this isn't even close to the starting lineup. What we're giving you in the spring, what we're giving you right now, just really, really, really isn't. Really isn't. A whole lot at the current moment. The takes and opinions, we give updates, we talk about it, maybe something interesting caught our eye, but Harold Perkins has to find a position. I don't think he's a Jack. I don't think that he's a Sam. I think he's going to have to be an inside guy, or you're just going to have to be very unique with him. Guys, if you really think, let me just throw this out there very quickly. If you really think that Harold Perkins on third down is not going to be rushing the passer or spying the quarterback and doing the same things he was doing last year, you're crazy. Do you really think, do you really, really, really think that Brian Kelly and Matt House would allow for Harold Perkins to be guarding a tight end down the field multiple times a game after he showed and displayed the things that he did against Arkansas and what he did to Bryce Young against Alabama and Jackson Dart at Ole Miss, I might add? That's where we're going. That's what we're doing. Get out of here with that. 1,000% get out of here with that. Matt House didn't give you a lot, right? He talked about his defense, but I wish that I would have been there to ask him more questions. Coach, what are you going to do more on third down? I just don't get some of these questions from people. Now, he talked about his defensive line and them having to get better there. Interesting how your defensive line coach left. I'll leave it at that. But, I mean, you do got to get better up front. Guys, you were 80th in sacks. And what Matt House talked about today is strictly that. We got to find ways to get better up front. I feel good about Mekhi Wingo. I got a good understanding of Mason Smith. So what it seems to me like is Matt House is banking on that his two best defensive linemen are going to be back for the summer and are going to be back for camp. You got guys like Deshaun Womack. You got guys like Ovi. You just have some dudes that you can play with now because you are a deeper football team. You're just a deeper football team. We're not giving you anything at the spring practice at the current moment. 20 minutes of field goal the last couple of times. What are we seeing? Basically, we're taking roll and walking out. That's why I hadn't been in a week because I was an idiot and kept going or whatever. But it's just true. There's not a lot to go off of at the current moment other than what the coordinators are giving us. That's not the interesting part to me, though. The interesting thing and the interesting part to me today clearly was Matt House of last week. Not today, but of last week. I mean, why'd I call him Matt House? Mike Denbrock. What Mike Denbrock talked about last week. It's getting late. It's past my bedtime anyway. Mike Denbrock was asked some really good questions. He was asked about his quarterback. He was asked about Jaden Daniels, and he said that he's really pleased with his progression, moving things down the field. Guys, again, they're going with Jaden. I don't know why this is a thing unless Garrett can do some miraculous things. Brian Kelly's already come out and said, unless something crazy happens, Jaden's going to be your starter for this upcoming season. I hate to hurt everybody's feelings, but that's the exact man's words, word for word. I don't know. But what I do know is that Mike Denbrock did come out and say that we've been working and Jaden's been working out of the season and by himself to start gaining the confidence and hitting the passes down the field. That's it. You know that's what they're trying to accomplish. One thing that Mike Denbrock did mention is the blocking up front. Now, he clearly wasn't pleased with Mason Taylor and what he did on the end line of scrimmage. We talked about that all season. But that Mac Markway, the freshman, seems to be coming in, and someone that Mike Denbrock already has some pretty decent and pretty good faith in, that when you need to gain a few yards to get that first down, it seems as if right now Mac Markway is going to be a part of that fold and part of that plan. Now, what does that tell me of what Mike Denbrock is thinking at this exact moment? I think that he doesn't want to change a whole hell of a lot. I don't think that people really realize just how good we were offensively. Everybody's like, well, defense. Guys, the position group that you yelled at the most, DB, remember that? Do you know statistically from a passing, defense, sacks, interception standpoint, do you know that they were the best unit on the team last year statistically? Did y'all know that? Zach, did you know that? That your DB room was statistically better for what they do than what the front seven was. How crazy is that, right? You were top 30 in passing yards allowed. You weren't that in rush defense. So I do say that I think that Mike Denbrock is going to keep a lot of the same stuff in with some wrinkles. But the biggest thing in all of this is him talking about how they're expanding the playbook. Was LSU running 75% of what they do last year because of faith and guys running the wrong routes like Kayshon Boutte and others? If this offense that averaged 270 yards in the air and 187 yards on the ground, if that gets better, then what? Then what? That's intriguing to me, man. I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm cautiously optimistic that how good this team's going to be offensively. I think it's great that we get two coordinators that you could talk to in the offseason. You get their thoughts, you get their game plan, you get their idea, you get where they're at the current moment. I like that Mike Denbrock's back. You know, Carter mentioned something last night. Did y'all know that Mike Denbrock was Pro Football Focus's fifth best offensive coordinator in the country? A little strange, isn't it? So when you do, and we do this every March. Now we get into the film study of our shows. Man, they were just so good up front. And I think that they can get better at running the football now that they got a tight end who can be on the end line of scrimmage and really go up against defensive ends. Oh, and by the way, it's not as if Mason Taylor was that bad. He was not that bad. But I really enjoyed listening to Mike Denbrock and some of the things that he had to say when it comes to this offense. When you get into a point where you know that you know the weakness of your offense, you're public about it, you know, and we know, and I promise you, this isn't a Les Miles press conference where we're going to be spreading the ball out. Mike Denbrock knows that they're going to have to push the ball more down the field than what they did last season. But you know what else Mike Denbrock knows? He said this last year. He's already 1 for 1. He said, we're going to be a really good running football team. He didn't tell you with the running backs or the quarterback. He said, we're going to run the ball at a high clip, at high efficiency. They did. Now what's his second goal? You know what's interesting? I went back and looked at Cincinnati under Desmond Ridder, the playoff team Desmond Ridder. It's a lot of the same. Meaning you get a good team, you run the football, you help your quarterback out early, they start expanding, they start doing some good things. Now let's take it to the next level. And this is just my opinion. I think Jane Daniels is a better overall athlete and quarterback than what your boy was up in Cincinnati, Desmond Ridder. It's my opinion. He did it in the SEC already. So really interesting for me. Really interesting. All right, a couple comments and we'll head on out of here. We'll cut it a little short tonight since it's been so late. Holden Lee says our running game going to be better, and that's scary. That is scary. Les Flick 1 on YouTube says, I want to see how the Howard kid does at Ole Miss do against LSU at full strength. Yeah, it won't be pretty. Ed O, Nussbus driver says, having Park in the middle in running situations makes it to where you can't take him out of play. That's so true. He says, I'm sure on third down he will rush. Absolutely. 1,000%. Hell, 1,000%. Jeff Futch says, with Jefferson, you now have a true nose guard. Yeah, Jordan Jefferson, not the quarterback. It's true, man. Like, we forget about them. I just think on both sides of the ball, man, what's scary, what is scary is that you're probably going to be better. Like, I think that you're a better overall football team. I really do think that you're a better overall football team than you were last year. And that I think that should scare some people. You don't have a Tennessee kind of crossover. You got Florida. I think that they stink. You got Missouri. I like it, man. I like it. Ray Powell says, Blake, do you think that we can average 200 to 225 yards a game running the ball? I don't know about that. But, look, let me do this, Zach. Hold on. Total offense, LSU. 2022. Let me do this so that, because people have been calling me out on this like for weeks now, and I always forget about it. Let me share this screen with y'all right quick. Hold on. All right. Let me go down here. So control plus. See how this looks on the screen. Let me go one more plus because I don't think y'all could see that too well. I think that might be better. All right. So let me show you this. So this is LSU's offensive stats from last season. So everybody was calling me out, okay, about this. Guys, LSU threw the football for 269.3 yards per season or per game last season. Everybody said, Blake, we're not throwing the football. Okay, well, look at attempts. 34.3 passing attempts per game. That's not talking about dropbacks. Let me pull this down because that's going to give me anxiety. Okay. These ads are going to give me anxiety. All right, here we go. Then you ran the ball 36.9 times per game for 183.9 yards per game, 5 yards per carry. 5 yards per carry, dude. So what are you trying to tell me? What are you trying to say that LSU offensively wasn't good? Zach, this is the thing that but befuddles me. 270 yards in the air per game, 284 yards on the ground per game. Guys, that is dynamic. Stop with this we weren't good on offense BS. You call me out for the stats all the time. Guys, they're right there. What do you want me to do? Anyway. All right. We'll cut a little bit short tonight. See y'all tomorrow. Peace out, Girl Scouts.